One major and indeed remarkable feature of the 2023 general elections is the spring up of surprises, especially in the National Assembly, where some perceived heavyweights, including 7 governors seeking election to the legislative chambers, were defeated by candidates that could easily have passed for greenhorns in the political scene. Benue State witnessed one of such upsets, and we shall be kicking off this episode of the program with a guest from that state, who will be sharing his agenda for the mandate given to him by members of his constituency. I'm Onengiye Fineface, and this is the mandate. My guest on the program is a management consultant, a legal practitioner, human rights activist, security strategist, and media executive. He is, of course, a young man trained in Nigeria and abroad. Honorable Philip Agbese, member-elect, Ado Opoku Ogbadigbo Federal Constituency of Benue State. Welcome to the mandate.
Thank you very much, Onengiye.
Of all the academic and professional toga attached to your name and personality, I am intrigued the most by one, activist. And I'm going to get us started on this note. The fact that you are an activist now involved in political leadership implies that you must have seen in the representation you have been getting from the House of Representatives issues and methods you consider in need of some kind of change. What are some of those issues?
First, let me start by thanking you for having me tonight, and equally to pay a special tribute to my constituents who have found me worthy of the cause to represent them at the National Assembly at this point in time. I want to particularly thank those who were there before me in the National Assembly, Honorable Hassan Saleh, my big brother, Chris Adababa, even the incumbent, Honorable Francis Agbo, and all of them. They've actually done a very fantastic work at the National Assembly. I'm here to build on what they have achieved in the past. And like you rightly mentioned, I'm coming from the community of those who are somehow not satisfied with what is on ground at the moment. And one of the issues that has actually pricked my heart, you know, to be in Parliament at this point in time is the issue of environmental degradation.
Okay.
And the question of some communities, not, you know, to communities who are making large contributions to the Nigerian state but have not been properly compensated or rewarded for what they are doing. And when I talk about this, this brings us to what I am proposing to call the Non-Oil Mineral Resources Development Commission. I'm from Benue State, like you rightly mentioned, and I'll give you a very good example. Benue limestone was actually used to build Abuja. It was in Yandef that that limestone was found, and the company in Boko called the Benue Cement Company. It survived and sustained the country for a very long period of time, especially the construction industry. But what has happened to that community today is an eyesore. So I believe that with the commission, the Non-Oil Mineral Resources Development Commission, which I am going to champion the bill at the National Assembly when we resume, will not only cater for my immediate community, because in my community we have limestone in Ulai. Is also another community. We are trying to get experts to do the mining of that limestone in Igumale, which is the headquarters of that of our local government. And if I take you to Zamfara, gold mining is also going on in Zamfara today. People are taking resources from this community. The federal government issues licenses to companies who are involved in mining activities. But at the end of the day, these communities are left with nothing. We have the Northeast Development Commission that is doing its best in the Northeast. We have the Niger Delta Development Commission that is also there, you know, catering for degradation as a result of oil exploration.
Okay.
If you go to Abuja in Kogi State, we also have Dangote Cement Company, Boa, and other international conglomerates taking resources from these communities. And then when you leave these companies to just render corporate social responsibility, it is defined in their own terms what they understand by corporate social responsibilities.
Honorable, now, why you are interested in making a case for a commission for non-oil mineral resources development, developing communities? I am now interested in something else. We have a lot of commissions, and there is this argument that there are too many. When we have ministries, departments, and agencies that are saddled with same responsibilities, coming up with this idea of introducing another commission into the system, wouldn't that add to the problem rather than the solution?
No, there is nothing too big or too much for us to do for the development of our country.
Yeah, but don't forget cost of governance.
The cost of governance is also not an issue. You know, the Orose Committee report actually was to deal with issues of duplication of agencies that have similar roles and responsibilities. But for instance, the Northeast Development Commission does not in any way address, or is not set up to address what I have mentioned, the communities that are producing some of these resources. Last year, Kogi State government had altercations with Dangote Company over the issue of destruction caused as a result of their facilities, their vehicles, plying those roads, destroying their roads without compensation, without adequate compensation to the communities affected. And then we have, not just in Kogi State, we have these communities that have been affected by the activities of exploration companies in these communities. And what we get is that the federal government has said, carry out corporate social responsibilities in these communities. And these corporate social responsibilities are only defined in the understanding of the companies. And of course, every company is out for the purpose of making profit.
And there is no way to make the companies understand their CSR from the perspective of the communities.
No. So this commission, I strongly believe that when it is subjected to Parliament and a law is passed and we have the commission is going to take care of all the communities. Oukpa is a community in Benue State. There's a lot of exploration of coal in Oukpa today. Exploration going on in Kalebo in Enugu State. So it's not just about my federal constituency. Okay. It is about the Nigerian state. So several other communities that mineral resources are being mined, nothing is going back to the community. So if we have a commission of this magnitude and a certain percentage of the company's profit is channeled into the commission will in turn carry out a needs assessment for these communities. For instance, Boko in Benue State, the roads are bad. They're very terrible. And apart from the roads, the community has not benefited anything from this activity.
Okay.
So,
all right. Now, I had reserved issues about environment for the last, but you alluded to it, so I'm going to bring it up now. You're an activist for environmental health in addition to other issues. And when you look at Benue State, you have River Benue, where there is perpetual flooding whenever the hydrological year sets in. And we might be experiencing that this year too. It was not funny last year. We might have something similar this year. There is also the case of gully erosion and then land degradation, which affects the agrarian community. In your own opinion, how would your activism, now that you're in government, help to solve these problems in Benue State?
Government in the last 10 years or more has budgeted more than enough resources for remedial actions to be carried out in helping to ameliorate the sufferings of people affected by flooding at one end, and at another end to equally prevent the devastating effect of flooding. Now, the Ecological Fund Office, domiciled in the Office of the Secretary of the Government of the Federation, has issued out lots of contracts to individuals, corporations, and companies. But the problem is that these companies have refused to carry out those they have refused to
The
carry
jobs
out
they have been
the
given?
jobs they have been asked to do.
Okay.
So, as a parliamentarian, I will be interested because my duty in the National Assembly, one, first, the quality of legislation, then two, oversight function, which is very key.
Yes.
So, in carrying out my oversight functions, I will also be interested to look back at what has happened for us to be able to know exactly. We have case scenarios of local government chairmen, particularly in my own local government, where in the last 4 years, the resources meant for resources released by the Ecological Fund Office have been squandered and most times taken away from the local government by the actors involved.
Okay.
We also have, the state government also squandering resources meant for ecological projects.
And how do you intend to change all of this?
It's very simple. We must ask questions on what has taken place in the past. And people must be invited to answer these questions and give us reasonable and satisfactory answers. After doing that, I have done my study and I've always suggested to the world that the only way out of the flooding issue is the dredging of the major river, which is River Benue.
Okay.
It is the inability of water to pass through its natural channels that is responsible for 50% of the problem. Then the question of climate change. So if these two issues are not addressed, these remedial actions, especially when contracts are issued by the federal government, the state government and the local government, they connive to siphon the resources, will continue. And the people, the worst hit, are members of our constituencies. So if we allow these activities to continue to go on between the state governments and the local governments across the country, we will continue to have situations where people are thrown out of their habitats, they are found in IDP camps, and I do not believe...
Let me just caution. What you said is very interesting, but you have 4 years. How much of these can you achieve? Do you think all of these things are achievable within the confines of your legislative function and the time limit you have, and of course other political dynamics in the House?
I know of a fact that Nigerians have elected very solid legislators from the other 359 federal constituencies. In the last few weeks, I've interacted with my colleagues, and I can tell you that with the quality and caliber of personalities, the IQ, the intellect of my colleagues, that we are working together, we can achieve so much in 4 years. I don't know if we'll be able to solve all the country's problems in 4 years. However, I can assure you that we'll do a lot for this country.
You seem to believe so much in the capacity of your colleagues, and now there is a kind of struggle and tussle amongst the same colleagues, talking about the leadership tussle in the House. First of all, what's your take on the way the pendulum is likely to swing at the end of the day?
For us at the Nationalist Forum, and for those of us who believe...
Nationalist Forum? What's Nationalist Forum?
The Nationalist Forum is a group of former lawmakers, returning members of the National Assembly, and the new members who are working hard day and night to ensure that we bet a new dawn in the leadership of the House of Representatives.
Is it party determined? Is it just for a party or across party lines?
It is across the various
party lines.
Parties.
Okay, well, let's get your thoughts on the leadership also then.
Now, this evening, we read on the social media that a certain candidate has been endorsed by our political party.
By then you mean the All Progressives Congress?
The All Progressive Congress.
Okay.
And we made some calls to very highly policed personalities at the party leadership structure. I don't want to mention names on television.
Okay.
Because of the confidentiality and the trust, for us to relate at that level. And they told us that they are watching the house. Okay. Mr. President-elect has equally advised them that he sees members of the National Assembly, particularly the House of Reps, as his children.
Okay.
And as an ex-parliamentarian, he would like to see a situation where his children are able to do things the right way.
Okay.
And for that purpose, the president is not in any way interested.
The president-elect, you mean?
Yes, the
Okay.
president-elect is not interested in what some persons are promoting in microzoning the office of the speaker.
Now that brings me to the issue of zoning. Some want zoning, others are going for consensus candidates. What's your take on that?
Consensus.
You are for consensus?
No.
Zoning?
I didn't emerge through consensus.
Okay, go on.
I went through primaries.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I went through primaries. So I am not a student of consensus.
Okay.
2, zoning as was done in the case of the presidential election. I want to use my party as a case study.
Yes.
The Progressive Governors Forum and the leadership of our party zoned the presidency for 2023 to the south. To the south. That enabled Nwajuba, Rochas Okrocha, David Umahi from the southeast to be able to contest because it was zoned to the south.
Well, there are candidates, there are aspirants as well from the north.
Again, Rotimi Amechi, Ayade, Ben Ayade, and even Senator Godswill Akpabio from the south also participated.
Yes.
Because it was zoned to the south. Then His Excellency, President-elect, Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo, former Speaker Dimeji Bankole, Senator Amusu, and countless number of persons from the southwest also contested.
Okay.
It was now left for the delegates of the All Progressive Congress, the national delegates, to now in their wisdom decide which part of the country, using the pendulum of competence, experience, credibility, to arrive at Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu as a flag bearer.
You seem to be speaking for zoning. Now, what if the party, what if the leadership of the party
following that
decides
model,
to go for a consensus candidate as a party man?
So following that model, following that model, I want to preempt the party. That a party, having seen that the speakership at the moment is in the south, is going to zone the speakership of the House of Representatives to the north. And they are going to zone the Senate president to the south. When that is done, it will now be left for the national delegates, who at this point in time will be the members of the National Assembly, the members of the House of Rep, to now tell Nigerians who amongst the aspirants is the most qualified person and the one with the cardinal indices of leadership, the one that is most competent, the one that has the experience to lead a National Assembly, the person with the charisma and the kind of content that will give us the kind of National Assembly leadership that we're looking for. Because for us at the Nationalist Forum and a new vision, we want a speaker for the House of Representatives, first for the Nigerian people. A speaker that will be able to work hand in hand with Mr. President to deliver on his campaign promises. A speaker that will be a speaker for the members of the House of Representatives. A speaker that will support us in terms of constituency projects a speaker that will support us in carrying out our oversight functions without fear or favor.
Which boils down to that of leadership.
Yes.
Giving leadership, responsive leadership to the House.
Yes.
That's understood now. Now, I would like to come back to you, having looked at your own thoughts on the issue of leadership. Tell me about your legislative agenda for your constituency. And you would agree with me that it is one thing to be a human rights activist agitating for good governance, and a different matter altogether, delivering the said good governance to your constituents. How do you hope to navigate the political system you may have criticized in the past to bring quality representation to your people now that you have their mandate in trust?
I have been with the people. They know me, and I know the people. I am a product of a political process.
Okay.
And being a product of a political process, it means that I understand the yearnings and aspirations of my people. And knowing fully well that I was not the only person who contested in that election that threw me up as the winner. We had presented our manifesto to the people, and the majority of the good people of Ado Okpoku Ogbadigbo Federal Constituency spoke in a very loud voice to associate themselves, to identify with my manifesto. A general statement was made on February 25th when I was voted through the popular vote of the people. It therefore means that the people are at home with my manifesto in terms of youth empowerment. And I've always said that I am not going to be a member of the House of Representatives, you know, to make noise just for the purpose of entertaining Nigerians. I am going to take concrete steps to address some of these problems. And in taking concrete steps to address some of these problems, like I've rightly identified, one, the quality of legislation. Some of these communities, we have youth restiveness, or what many call insecurity crisis, as a result of the neglect of the youthful population. And these things can easily be tackled, not necessarily inviting the federal government, but when we go back to the root of the problems. And in one way of doing that is to ensure that young people are gainfully employed. That brings us to industrialization. And like I mentioned earlier, the issue of compensation. Part of my legislative agenda is to also ensure that I use legislation to bring about constituency projects, my federal constituency. I'll give you a good example.
Please do.
Aguilar is one of the communities at the border between Ebonyi, Enugu, and Benue State. Aguilar remains the worst hit community in the Civil War of 1967 to 1970. That happens to be my community. That community has not been compensated since the advent of that war, since 1970 date. There is no federal presence in that community to show the people that yes, the federal government has identified with the people for their pains and the sufferings that they went through in the past. So I would be proposing to the federal government to cite the Federal College of Agriculture in Aguilar.
Okay.
Because the people need to feel the impact of government. The people want to see, the people want to know that they are part of the Nigerian state. That community is the only community in Benue State today that has no access road, the only community that has no health care center, the only community without a proper primary school as we speak. So, first, by identifying the problems,
okay,
I believe that we have solved more than half of the problem by identifying the problem. Now, we now move forward.
Honorable, in the course of your response to legislative agenda, the earlier things you said, you mentioned youth empowerment. And I was waiting to hear from you what you mean by youth empowerment, what you want to do when you say youth empowerment, different from what we've been hearing in the past from other politicians, lawmakers, governors, and so on. What exactly do you mean by youth empowerment, and how do you want to go about empowering the youth in your constituency Quickly.
I've always focused my interventions, even as a private person.
Okay.
Yes. One, I believe in sports. And I was the first in that federal constituency to organize a football festival for the youth.
Really?
Yes. When I did that very close to Christmas. And for the first time, the issue of banditry, the issue of insecurity within that federal constituency, that Christmas period was reduced.
Okay.
It was not by security intervention, because I got the youth involved in sporty activities.
Okay. Did you discover any talents that time?
We are on it. We brought in local scouts.
Okay.
We brought in local scouts. They are still working on the selected players who participated in that tournament.
So we are going to be seeing Aguilar Youth very soon on national stage. Now
no, not Aguilar Youth.
The entire constituency.
Enone Youth. We are working with partners in Russia, another
good.
part of Europe, to ensure that we take these people away. That is just one aspect. Another aspect that I've invested my personal resources is the issue of ICT.
ICT, okay.
When I was coming, I told my people that I want Enone to become the new focus, the Silicon Valley of Africa in Nigeria.
All right.
We are going to deploy ICT. In doing this, we come to the issue of oversight functions.
Okay.
I know some of these agencies in the communication sector are doing a lot in terms of startups in the area of ICT. So
I want to take a quick one. I want to take you on a quick one, a very quick one. Security. Tell me about security. How you want to go about security in Benue State? The kind of constitutional reforms you like to see to place better security in your constituency, of course, Nigeria as a whole.
By the special grace of God, our administration, the APC government, will be coming on board with our manifesto on what we intend to do in the area of security. By this, I know very well that Mr. President-elect will rejig the security architecture. He is likely to be coming on board with a new NSA. So we will wait to see their strategies. And when we see their strategies, we know exactly, where to come in, where to advise them, where to make input, and what exactly the person will be coming to do.
Okay.
What exactly Mr. President will be coming to do. But in the interim, the question of
Honorable, I want to put you on the hot seat here now because we have to round it off now. Wase, Dogowa, Kalu, and the others. Who is your man?
You have not mentioned the man that has been.
So who is your man?
No, you
There is, and the others.
Yes, no.
There is others.
No. He does not belong to the others. I think at the moment,
for
the speakership,
we
have Right Honorable Mokhtar Betara. The one accepted by the outgoing members.
So that's your man.
The one accepted.
No, that's your man.
No, I don't want to say that's my man.
It's hot seat. It's a hot seat. That's your man.
No, I would prefer to say the people's man.
Thank you very much, Honorable Philip Agbese, member-elect Ado Okpoku Ogbadigbo Federal Constituency of Benue State. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of The Mandate. A new episode of the program comes up 10 p.m. on Monday and 10:30 p.m. on Wednesday and Friday. My name is Onengie Fineface. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you, Onengie.